Hello there, Aquarius, and welcome to your November reading. Really great to see you, and I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart because I know this has been a long wait for many of you to get these videos out, but I really needed that time to recover, and I appreciate your kindness, your love, and your generosity as you allowed me the time that I needed to take care of myself. So with much love and light, I'm looking forward to taking a look and seeing what's coming through for your sign over the course of November. I'd also like to say a thank you to everybody that has been really supportive in the way of joining me on Patreon or giving a donation through my website. Know that that completely goes back to this channel. It allows me to purchase materials and also, more importantly, set aside the time that's necessary. Just like you, I work and I have to actually take time off to do these videos. So if you like what you see here, please give back. It will allow me to generate more videos per month. And I am going to get the December ones up a little bit earlier, just as a thank you for waiting so long this time. With all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the forecast, which, by the way, you can use for your sun, your rising, and for your moon sign. I like to begin with channeled information. The way that I get to the channeled information is for every sign, I choose a unique deck of cards and I meditate. I then pay attention to what comes through visually or through words or sounds. As I was writing this down for your sign this month, I was getting the imagery of like putting on a new pair of glasses. And what came through as I was writing was the following. I said, see this month through a new lens. Allow this to be a chance for a mental and also a spiritual reboot. And I know that for a lot of us, myself included, October brought some twists and turns and unexpected events. And you know, it's important each month for us to not necessarily carry over energy from what we just went through. You want to learn, you want to be able to integrate, but it's important to believe that things can shift, things can change, and that you always have the ability to turn the knob towards something positive. So this month in particular, if you can embrace the idea that this is brand new, and if you can kind of put on a new pair of glasses and see things through a different perspective, I think that you're going to be able to uncover some really nice blessings this month. Let's go ahead now and begin with a catalyst card. Normally I shuffle and pull the whole deck, but I'm inspired for your sign to look at the catalyst first and see if there's a complementary message to that channeled information. And then we're going to pull the full Celtic cross. So your catalyst this month is all about allowing for a healing to take place. And the card itself is about crystals, which to me is also about clarity. And when you think of what glasses are made of, it's ground down sand. It's basically crystals that have been reforged into something new. So this month, I want you to allow for like a crystal clear clarity to come through all things in your life. And I want you to start to work on your own ability to see things from that new point of view, looking at the different facets too. I'll pull a crystal here that I have. Knowing that it's always, you know, each side that you look at, you get a different perspective. So I want you to get the full perspective of what's going on in your life, turning the facet, turning things around, putting on a new glass or new pair of glasses. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what this month has in store for you. At this point, I'm going to lay out the Celtic cross for the month, and I like to remain quiet while I shuffle and pull the cards. When I'm done, I will rejoin you, so thank you. All right, we already pulled the catalyst, so let's just jump straight into looking at each card one by one, and I'll draw comparisons to the catalyst and also the channeled information as appropriate. So we'll start off with your central card, which is Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is showing many of you that this is a month for you to continue to persist, to be perseverant, to not give up. If you look closely at the illustration on this card, you'll see that someone's been through a difficult time. You'll see the bandage on their head, but that they're standing strong, they're standing tall, and that they're ready and willing to take sort of anything that the universe wants to send their way. This would be like the universal fighter card, where it's like, throw me another punch, I can handle it. But it's also a card where fatigue can set in if you're not careful, and sometimes you can lose track or perspective of how far you've come in your life, in your present challenge, and whatever's going on in your life, you can sometimes just think, I can't take this anymore, or I'm really ready to give up. And that's the danger with the Nine of Wands. You've come so far, but you're forgetting that there's only a little bit left, and also just how difficult it was to get where you were. This is a card for many of you of paying your dues, and what's important is if you're looking at a goal in your life and you're being passed over for something, either in a circle of friends where you're constantly being neglected, or at work where you're never getting the promotion that you want. This card is coming through at a time when it might be necessary for you to take a stand and one more time sort of state your case. So before you give up, I want you to regroup internally. I talked about the reboot in the channeled information, and think if there's a different way, and we were also looking at that crystal here, think if there's another way for you to present your case and give people one more chance to see it from your perspective before giving up. So this is an encouragement to not give up just yet, give it one more month, give it one more try, and give it your all. You're going to find a lot of power and encouragement by partnering up this month as well. And this has been a universal theme throughout many signs, friendship, partnership, and love. And that's what I see with the Two of Cups here, all of those elements and attributes. Great time for many of you to find a relationship. We were talking about, paying your dues, waiting a long time. If some of you have been single for a long time and kind of have this detachment now, it's actually healthy and it'll work in your benefit in that particular situation, because when you feel like, I've got this, it doesn't matter if I find someone, that's smack dab when someone comes your way. So don't give up, but don't worry about it, because this sort of healthy detachment that some of you have will actually bring in friendship, partnership, and love. For some of you, this is also about fighting for what you believe in a relationship. If someone is not, again, appreciating you, this is about making sure that they understand how much you're putting into this. If there's someone that you love and that you really want in your life, this is about fighting for that love. So you might have a marriage or a friendship that's on the rocks. With the Nine of Wands and the Two of Cups, this is about making sure that you don't give up, that you give it a chance. But with the Nine of Wands, there's also a warning for some of you that if you're in an abusive situation, if someone is either mentally or physically abusive, that is the one situation where you want to protect yourself, where you want to actually seek shelter, assistance, and ask for help. So it's worth fighting for something that's good, but if there's someone that is aggressive towards you, this is a time when you want to protect yourself, ask for help, and seek shelter. As we look at deep past here, we have the Page of Pentacles card in reverse. What does this mean? For many of you, that you're kind of tapped out energetically and resource-wise. You're worried about money. You might have been putting a lot of time and energy in helping someone else in your life, because we see Nine of Wands, Two of Cups. What that can mean is someone that was going through a difficult time, that was injured. Some of this, for you have to make sure that you're okay as well and invest in yourself. So making sure that you take care of your body. Good nutrition, good rest, making sure that if you haven't had sort of like a physical checkup, we do this with our cars, but not always with our bodies. So acupuncture, massage therapy, stretching, doing something to really work out all of the kinks in your body. It's going to be so much better for you and so beneficial for you, especially for those of you that are caretakers or play a support role for others in your life. When you do the maintenance on yourself, you have more energy to give and you feel like you're ready to do it. Otherwise, you can sometimes get this sense of feeling just, kind of like petered out and tired and sometimes even resentful. So honor and take care of yourself. You'll have more to share if you do that. It's a busy month for many of you. Either your social calendar is active or you're working hard to just kind of make ends meet and take care of yourself. Try to come up for air when and if possible, making time for sort of just pampering days, like I was saying earlier, whether that's, every Friday night you take a bubble bath, or you take a couple days out of the week and you make sure that you can go to yoga or go hiking or just read a book or see a movie. I don't care. Try to bring one thing each day that allows for you to feel rejuvenated. The beginning or the end, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you can honor it and you make consistent effort to allow for this to happen. It's important this month to listen and be open to different perspectives. The King of Wands card in reverse, from a personal perspective, can indicate a headstrong approach, which is not a bad thing, especially if you're in a very challenging environment where it's competitive. This is a card where you won't be pushed around. You'll be able to stand up. But it can also indicate sometimes shutting off other people before they have a chance to express themselves. So allow for that that behavior to maybe be muted a bit. Because I was talking about earlier, the Nine of Wands, which can show people being pushy, this character could be a fire sign in your life. If that is the person that is kind of being pushy, then that's the one that you want to avoid. You don't want to get into their agitated state, their anger, and it's better to absolutely just extricate, remove yourself, and move on than to engage with that kind of energy. Because there could be someone who you just can't win an argument, or you can't get them to see your point of view. So sometimes it's a boss, sometimes it's a manager, and like an apartment manager, whoever it is in your life. You just have to kind of walk away from that and think, I don't need to prove that I'm right or that they're not listening or argue. There's no benefit. So let it go, move forward. And instead of putting your energy in what we were just talking about, it would be great for you to really focus on fun. I look at King of Cups, and it's not necessarily about artistic expression, although it can be, and it's not necessarily about love, although it can be. But what I'm looking at here is just having fun and doing something that feels good. And I think it's actually better if there's no tangible benefit, if you're not doing it because you feel like you need to work on this or because you want people to see what you can do. So that's why I'm kind of veering away from performance, away from some sort of expression. This should be just fulfillment, personal fulfillment. So if there happens to be some sort of good thing that comes from it, whether it's you create something and then you actually end up selling it or sharing it or whatever, fine. But it's the act of creation, it's the act of having fun that's important. For some of you, this could be taking a walk in the forest, or going to the beach, or spending the afternoon in a museum or a library, or making cookies. It doesn't matter. Do something that just makes your heart sing and open up. And I was talking about one thing to pamper yourself each day. I'd like you to do at least one thing this whole month that is just for you. And maybe you put it towards the middle to end, so it's something to look forward to. A mini trip to a place that you haven't been in a long time. Maybe just even by yourself, or an overnight stay somewhere that just gives you a chance to hit that reset that we were talking about, and to get that clear sense of who you are, what your energy feels like. Because Aquarius sometimes gets so caught up in the thought process and in trying to understand things that it's kind of latching onto a lot of different energy. I want you to get back and centered into your own space, and a grounding activity would be great for you. So it's a little past the season for many places to go out and do gardening or whatever, but anything where you're somehow in nature or getting your hands on the ground or in the earth, that's going to be really beneficial. So think about what would work for you and try to do something that brings you a sense of connection to nature, and I think that will help. As we look at the midpoint for the month and also your ego, this is a time when there's going to be a lot of activity, and anything that you decide to put your mind to, you'll actually see progress. It may not happen overnight, but once you start to put the energy into it, momentum will pick up, and you will be surprised by your own ability to push something forward. The other thing that I see this month that is both positive and then also something to pause about is I just see your mind going a mile a minute. So this is a chance for you to really assess a situation from a bird's eye view. You can really see all the different perspectives, But sometimes you might be thinking too much, thinking about what other people view you as, worrying about the world in general, worrying about your money, worrying about your health, worrying. So I'd rather you not go towards the place of worrying, but if you want a little sense of distraction, that's okay. But try to find some structure to it so that your mind doesn't go down every possible avenue. So an activity like reading, where you're thinking about something, but it's sort of a guided activity, would be beneficial, or listening to the radio so that somebody is sort of guiding you. If you're left to sort of just let your mind wander, this month it could be a little bit of a rabbit hole for some of you. So although brainstorming is going to be really productive this month, there needs to be structure. So figure out how the structure works best for you, and that's going to help you out. We're looking at hopes, fears, opportunities. For some of you, I want you to, whenever I see this card, I do get a note for many of you that have been having issues with your gastrointestinal tract, your reproductive organs. You want to kind of check in with doctors this month. It's an important card for that. So for women, it's like ovaries. For men, it can be, again, maybe your fertility. Some things could be off kilter a little bit this month. Take a look at your diet. Take a look at emotional components, because the moon card can have a lot to do with that. The other thing is, this can just be a card that deals with your fears over life in general. Fear of success, fear of failure, sometimes unfounded and unrealistic things that are kind of going into your imagination. So this is a time when it would be helpful for you to vent some of this and talk to somebody, whether it's a friend or a professional. Your emotions could take you into a fear-based place, and I think it's important to just check that with someone else and see if it makes sense or if it's just you worrying too much, because these two cards are connected here. This sort of daydreaming card and the fear card, put them together, and sometimes your imagination can go wild. So try to ground yourself, as I said earlier, talk to someone, and we end the month on taking a trip, adding some distance, maybe even some alone time. If you've been doing a lot with other people, and especially if you've been around people that need a lot, this could also be a really sensitive person or a water sign that's in a place where they need a lot from you, or there's just someone in your life where you feel like it's they're kind of siphoning your energy. What I suggest this month is a getaway, a day trip, maybe longer, exploration, doing something just for yourself, and cutting some of the ties between people in your life that don't know when to stop asking for help, and just giving yourself that perspective that you need. You'll be able to come back later and decide how much, or if anything, to give back to these people, but you first need to sort of get back with yourself. This can also be for some of you work travel, and in that case, I just want you to take care of yourself, because the moon card attached to that can just show, again, some dehydration, some fatigue, some emotional stress. So if you have to travel for work or just for your life in general, be kind, get rest, be hydrated, and you should be able to manage that as best as you can. Sometimes we don't have a choice with those matters. Let's go ahead now and expand your forecast. I talked a little bit about health. Let's dig a little deeper and see what else the cards have to say about health. Knowing that this particular card is about mind, body, and spirit, not just about physical issues within your body. So we have rest. It's the main thing. Rest and reconsider. This card speaks for itself, but one thing that I notice with this is that sense of connecting with nature. In a lot of decks that I have, stones equal earth signs or earth in general. So getting out, hiking, just going to the beach or going to a park and sitting down and resting. That's all you need to do. And meditation is really important, but I think meditating in nature could be more powerful for some of you, especially if you have trouble focusing on meditation. If your mind wanders, if you go out into nature, like if you go to the beach early in the morning before everyone's there, you can listen to the sound of the ocean crashing against the beach itself. You can listen to the seagulls in the sky, the wind as it passes through. All of these beautiful things that naturally take you to a place of tranquility. If you're in the forest, you might be listening to a blue jay singing, or to the sound of leaves falling if you're on the East Coast. If it's raining and you're under, under an eave, you can just listen to the pitter patter of the rain. And even as I go through all of this, these things take me to a place where I feel relaxed, where I'm connected with nature, and where I get out of my head. So I think that there could be a great benefit to just sitting, closing your eyes and listening. Just observe. That's meditation. You don't have to always kind of imagine yourself in an astral plane or doing something special. Just be present and allow for the observation of what's around you to be the primary noise in your head rather than the thoughts. And that's step one in kind of learning to meditate. And as you drink this in and sip this in, maybe even you want to record some of this if you're in a really quiet place and you like the sounds. Use that later as your replay. So you need to find places that you like and snapshots of the world that you like that then you can later kind of connect to when it's time for meditation. Let's look at your wealth card. Wealth is not just money, it's opportunities, it's self-worth, it's how you approach and welcome in these things in your life as well. Your message for wealth this month is stillness, patience, and it's interesting. There's a lot of rest cards that come in. So I was looking at health. We have a meditation or an outside sort of card that's showing rest and reconsider. Then we have in your wealth card the resting tree, which is showing patience and stillness. This is also speaking to two different aspects. When I see a tree, I see stability. When I see patience and stillness, it's a plateau. So if you're worried about your money, I don't see any cards here in the future perspective showing a shift. So whatever was going through that was kind of tapping you out, it seems like it plateaus this month. So try to save up, try to rest, and don't worry too much about this month. I think you've got it under control. Let's go ahead now and take a look at love and see what messages are coming through for relationships this month. And it's all types of relationships, not just romantic. So let's see what's suggested when it comes to the exchange of the currency of love. The message this month is frequency shift. This is all about communication because this is associated with the color of the throat chakra. And so what you want to do is change the way that you're communicating. If you've been really direct, maybe you step back a little bit. If you haven't been saying what you want or what you expect, maybe try that direct approach. Shift the way that you are communicating and existing with other people. Allow them to be more present and understand that as you change the way that you feel, others are going to react. It's a mental shift that has to take place. It's going to manifest through your words and your actions, but it starts here. So for some of you, this could be just a sense of self-worth. I'm ready for love. I'm welcoming that into my life. For some of you, this might be standing up for yourself, saying, enough is enough. I'm not going to be pushed around anymore. For the rest of you, this could just be, I'm ready to have fun. Because this love, this passion, doesn't have to always be about an interplay between you and someone else. It can just be about working, living, and experiencing something in life that brings you a sense of a heart opening, love, and appreciation. You could just be, we were talking about going to the beach or to the park or hiking, just being out in the world and thinking, I really love this day. I love my life. I love living. That's going to open you up, and that's going to shift how people react when they see you. They're going to look at you and just think, I really like this person's energy. They seem to be at peace with themselves. They seem to not be looking for something. That's an attractive force because so many people on this planet have an agenda or are looking for that completion by kind of latching onto someone else rather than becoming whole in and of themselves. Let's move along to your destiny message. This is a GPS card. It's your chance to see if your trajectory is matching up to your destiny. And if it is, perfect. If it isn't, there'll be a course correction message in here, which will allow you to make the necessary changes or adjustments. Your message this month for destiny is, your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. Another way of saying this is you are psychic, you are intuitive, trust yourself. Listen to the voice, listen to the thoughts, the images that are coming into your mind. They're valid. And they're coming from a divine place. And one of the necessary things to really tap into intuition is to simply believe that you can access it. And then the second thing to really create a sense of clarity in that is to also believe that it's coming from a higher source. To not just believe, but to project. I am connecting to my higher self, and I am now ready to receive from from the highest possible energy source. Do that this month, and you're going to find that you may be able to anticipate what's going to happen before it happens, or what people are going to say before they say it. Or you may be able to hear between the words or read between the lines and understand true intentions. And that's the magical part of intuition. It gives you a sort of, it's not necessarily a cheat sheet, but it's sort of, you understand more than what's going on, and you then can use that to navigate and save yourself trouble. So trust your own ability to be intuitive, to be psychic. It's there, it's coming through this month. If you take the time, there's so many cards about rest. You know, I'm seeing it in health, I'm seeing it in wealth, and I saw it in your outcome, and we'll review all of this in a second. But if you do this month, you're going to be able to take the energy you've been putting into others and expand on your own mental capacity. And I think really fantastic things can come through. Let's go ahead and review everything that we talked about, and then we'll wrap up this reading. When I was tuning into your sign, I said that this will be a chance for you to reset. I pulled the crystal and I said that you want to kind of look at different facets of your life, put on it like a different pair of glasses, and see the world through a new perspective. And then when we looked at your catalyst card, it's all about allowing for healing to happen within, and also sort of healing your view of the world. Sometimes we become jaded, we expect the worst. This month, I would say, try to expect the best, or look for the best, and see where opportunities for good exist in your life. And by doing that, you'll actually attract them and find them. So let's look at each card one by one. At the center, there's a card that shows for many of you a sense of fighting for what's important. For some of you, this is also not allowing others to push you around. It's important for you to really embrace the positive aspects of friendships and relationships this month. I do think that there's a lot of people that are there to help you. Look for the friends that you trust, look for the loved ones you trust, and invest in those relationships. As we focus on your wealth, we had a card here that showed that it was resting, that it was in a place of sort of stagnation. So anything that might have been happening in the past that was causing you to stress out about money, just know that it's quieting down a little bit this month. You still want to focus more on saving than spending, but I don't see a lot of negative activity going on with wealth. Looking at recent past, what's affecting you towards the beginning of the month, I just want you to not be so caught up in all of the day-to-day responsibilities and work that you don't take time to enjoy. There was a predominant message this month about changing perspective and resting. So plan a trip, plan a vacation, get out of this work routine or whatever's taxing you, and free yourself. Stay open-minded. Also avoid people that are stubborn or with whom you can't win an argument or point of view. Let that go. Focus instead on what brings you joy, whether that's investing the passion in a relationship or just having fun. That's the important thing as you approach the midpoint. Whatever you decide to put your energy into, you're going to notice pretty rapid, successful growth in that area. Try not to get lost in your thoughts and or your emotions. We talked about some potential health elements here as well. Make sure that you're hydrated if you're traveling. That was one other message. Expanding the forecast. For health, take time to rest. We also discussed being able to meditate in nature and maybe using that in the future if you're having any sort of blocks on being successful at meditation. A plateau with your money. Don't worry, just be patient. Know that this month is maybe a needed reprieve or rest from either spending too much or saving too much. You just have a chance to sit still and decide what you want as well. Taking some time off, by the way, if you have it saved up, is essential. With relationships, it's all about changing the tone of communication, trying to be as honest and as open as possible, and also remembering that the frequency shift, even though we see throat chakra, it's really happening within your head, and the way that you act, the way that you speak is going to be a reaction to the way that you think. Finally, knowing that your internal guidance and intuition is real and it's worth listening to and, more importantly, developing. So spend some of the energy that you were spending on others on your own internal intuitive development, and you're going to see some great strides in that area. So that brings your monthly reading to a close. But if you'd ever like to talk to me about something that I didn't cover here, I welcome that. You can check out the first link below the video, and it'll be a way to connect to rates and availability. So see if that works for you. If not, if you just want to say thank you, a great way to do so is to join me on Patreon, and a donation of $1 a month makes such a difference. It allows for me to set up the time that I need to take days off from my work to do the videos. It also helps me buy supplies. So in advance, I'd like to say thanks. I'm going to put the information at the bottom again so that you know how to reach out to me. Below the video, it's the second link, and if you click on the little eye in the corner, you'll be able to see the embedded link as well. Finally, I'd love for you to join me across social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I have a newsletter, and of course I'm here on YouTube. So to join me on all of the above, you can click that third link. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do that. There's also a little bell icon which will help you stay in touch with when I release the videos. You'll get an email or a notification, so I encourage you to do that. The last thing that I want to always do in each video is to say thank you. I'm so honored and also grateful that you continue to come back each month and work on yourself. The big purpose here on the planet for me is to help raise consciousness and to inspire. And if I can do that, it elevates me and it makes me happy. And I also am hoping that we can, as a domino effect and as a sort of aggregate effect, make the frequency on the planet shift to something higher. That's the whole purpose each and every month. And I want you to feel that shift happening within yourself, this awareness, this ability to receive and perceive things with this sort of crystal clarity that we see here. And I talked about that last month. That's the purpose. I want you to be as clear as that crystal too. Your energy is bright and white, you're feeling light, and you're able to receive the light and reflect the light as well. So keep working, have that vision in your mind that you are just as clear, just as bright as this crystal. And I believe that if we do this, each and every day we're making this planet a better place. Sending you my sincere gratitude. Again, thank you for being patient. The next month's readings will be out earlier, and I just appreciate you allowing me time to heal. I needed that, and I think you should do the same if that's something that you need in your life. Always take care of yourself and know that you have my love and support as well. Take care. I'll see you next month.